You're the best fighter in China.
Yao Yisi.
The air was thick with anticipation as fans around the world tuned in to witness a clash of fighting philosophies that had never before been tested in the brutal, unforgiving octagon of the UFC. On one side stood a seasoned Wing Chun Sifu, an undisputed master of the ancient Chinese martial art known for its speed, precision, and close-quarters combat. On the other, the legendary Mike Tyson, former heavyweight boxing champion, a wrecking machine with fists like cinder blocks and an unrelenting ferocity that had humbled the greatest of fighters. The debate had raged for decades. Could traditional martial arts, developed over centuries of refinement, hold up against the raw, explosive power of modern combat sports? Could the fluid, almost mystical techniques of Wing Chun withstand the relentless, calculated destruction of a fighter like Tyson? The world would finally have its answer. Wing Chun is an art of economy and precision. Rooted in close-range combat, its foundation is built upon lightning-fast strikes, simultaneous attack and defense, and supreme sensitivity to an opponent's movements. The Wing Chun Sifu in this bout, an elder master with decades of experience, was a man who had trained under the strictest of disciplines. His reflexes were honed to near superhuman levels, and his hands moved faster than the eye could follow. Mike Tyson, on the other hand, was a different beast altogether. A powerhouse of aggression, he had spent a lifetime dismantling world-class opponents with devastating hooks, uppercuts, and relentless pressure. Though past his prime, his fists still carried the echoes of his prime era, the kind of power that could end a fight in mere seconds. While he had never competed in a UFC setting, his striking ability was second to none, and his defensive head movement remained legendary. As the bell rang, the Wing Chun Master assumed a classic stance, centerline theory in play, hands positioned for maximum efficiency. Tyson, on the other hand, took a traditional boxing stance, crouched slightly, bobbing his head with that infamous peekaboo defense. The Sifu moved in first, testing Tyson's reflexes with rapid chain punches, his hands blurring as he sought to close the gap. Tyson, ever the predator, stayed patient. He dodged, weaved, and analyzed. He had fought men who punched hard before, but never one who threw so many in such a rapid succession. The Sifu's speed was mesmerizing. Tyson, however, was not an ordinary opponent. He had been trained to break rhythm, to attack in explosive bursts. He knew that if he allowed the Sifu to dictate the pace, he could find himself overwhelmed. And so, with a sudden, thunderous left hook, he disrupted the flow. The punch crashed against the Sifu's forearm, sending a ripple of force through his body. Though the Sifu had managed to block it, the sheer power behind the punch had taken a toll. The crowd roared as the contrast in styles became clear. The Sifu was a master of efficiency. His movements refined, every action calculated to conserve energy. But Wing Chun was designed for self-defense, for street fights, not for the brutal reality of the octagon. It lacked the conditioning and the raw knockout power that Tyson possessed. Tyson, on the other hand, was a gladiator of combat sports. He had spent his entire life fighting men who could take a punch and still keep coming. His body was hardened by years of high-intensity training, and his mindset was forged in the fires of championship battles. The Sifu was incredibly skilled, but he had never faced an opponent like this, a man who had stared down the best boxers in the world and emerged victorious. The fight continued, and for a moment, it seemed as if the Sifu might find an opening. He slipped past Tyson's guard and delivered a rapid succession of chain punches to the ribs. Tyson grimaced, feeling the sting, but it was nothing compared to the blows he had endured in his prime. He had taken body shots from the hardest punchers in the world. This was nothing new. Then came the shift. Tyson stepped in, closing the distance even further, and launched a devastating uppercut that connected cleanly. The Sifu stumbled backward, his balance momentarily lost. Tyson saw the opening, and like a lion pouncing on wounded prey, he unleashed a barrage of hooks. The power behind each punch was immense, far beyond anything the Wing Chun Master had ever encountered. The Sifu tried to recover, but Tyson's attack was unrelenting. Another left hook slammed into his temple, and his legs buckled. The crowd gasped. The Sifu, a man of grace and precision, had never faced this kind of sheer brutality. Wing Chun was about control. Tyson was about destruction. The final moments were a brutal testament to Tyson's power. As the Sifu wobbled, trying desperately to regain his footing, Tyson delivered the finishing blow, a right hook that landed flush on the jaw. The Sifu collapsed. The referee rushed in, waving off the fight. It was over. The outcome of this fight was inevitable from the start, though many had hoped for a different result. The Sifu's technique was flawless, but Wing Chun was never designed for sustained combat against a powerhouse like Tyson. It excelled in quick, precise engagements, an art of finesse in a world that rewarded brute force. Tyson had spent his life perfecting the art of knocking men unconscious. His punches weren't just fast, they were devastating. Tyson had battled some of the greatest fighters in history. He knew how to take a hit, how to adjust, and how to capitalize on any weakness. While Wing Chun relied on control of space and sensitivity, Tyson controlled the fight through sheer aggression and ring presence. He dictated the pace and forced his opponent to react. Tyson had faced countless styles, from aggressive sluggers to defensive counterpunchers. His ability to adjust in the heat of battle was second to none. The dream of a traditional martial artist defeating a modern combat sports legend had been shattered. The UFC had provided a stage for one of the most anticipated showdowns in history, and the verdict was clear. Raw power, experience, and battle-hardened resilience had triumphed over technique and tradition. This fight served as a stark reminder of the evolution of combat. While traditional martial arts hold immense value and beauty, modern combat sports are built on a foundation of real-world application and constant adaptation. The Sifu had entered the octagon with skill, honor, and history on his side. But against Mike Tyson, the ultimate warrior of destruction, it simply wasn't enough. And so, as the dust settled and the roar of the crowd echoed through the arena, one truth became undeniable. When it comes to a fight, experience and sheer power will always have the upper hand over tradition alone.